I'll start off by talking about orange juice. Let's assume, and it's a pretty good assumption, that the amount of orange juice people consume is directly proportional to how hot the summer is that year. So, if the temperatures soar up really high one summer, the price of orange juice also shoots up because of the increased demand. And I think all of us understand this kind of reasoning on some level. Some of us, of course, understand it better than the rest, and so can make a profit by, say, predicting the weather in advance. If you're wondering how someone can make money this way, just like how you can buy shares of a company on the stock market, you can buy futures of a commodity like orange juice on something called the futures market. So, for example, if you think the orange juice prices are going to be high this time, you can make a profit by buying orange juice futures in January at a low price and then selling it during the summer in March when it's much higher. Obviously, there are many other factors involved, but to put it deductively, you can predict the price of orange juice if you know what the weather is going to be like. But now let's think about it the other way around. And I promise this is going to blow your mind. Can you predict the weather by looking at the price of orange juice? The answer, as it turns out, is hell yes.
How? I'm glad you asked. Let's go back to understanding how prices are really determined. So, like I mentioned earlier, speculators trade on commodities like orange juice, and when they buy or sell futures, these prices change. So essentially, the price of a commodity becomes nothing but a reflection of all the information available to the traders. Now, this may not be immediately obvious, but it turns out that it's a hypothesis that has been repeatedly verified across a plethora of scenarios and has, for the most part, been quite accurate. In fact, this assumption is the basis of a significant amount of economic theory. And like most ideas in economics, it comes with a fancy name. It's called the efficient market hypothesis. I suggest you look this up on Wikipedia if you can. It's a hypothesis that's a source of great debate in the economics community. If it helps further pique your interest, this hypothesis is often quoted as one of the causes for the 2008 recession. So, prediction markets aren't the only method of information aggregation. You can aggregate opinions from statistical methods, get it from expert opinions, and even other simpler forms of voting. While prediction markets may not be the Swiss knife of information aggregation, it has many advantages over these other methods. Statistical methods for forecasting mainly depend on historical data only, whereas prediction markets can incorporate real-time information as well. Prediction markets is less expensive as compared to getting expert opinions, and it also doesn't suffer from the problem of avoiding issues like conflicting opinions among the experts over a particular prediction. And as opposed to simple polls, this is much more well structured and has a solid amount of theory behind it. Alright, I'm now going to take a step back to talk a bit about how the rest of this video is going to be structured. First, we'll take a break from the theory and look at some real world examples of prediction markets and talk about how they're being used, their effectiveness, etc. Next, I'll take an example of a sports tournament to demonstrate the various parties involved in the functioning of a prediction market, talk about scoring rules, and a few other important properties of any prediction market. After that, I'll be setting up Zocalo on my computer. So Zocalo is an open source framework for creating and experimenting with prediction markets, and I'll be giving a 10,000 feet overview of its functionality. I'll then be using the earlier examples of the sports tournament to create an actual prediction market in Zocalo. Finally, there's a lot of exciting work going on that involves combining the power of blockchain to enable the decentralization of prediction markets. I'll finish off by talking a bit about how it works and what it entails. So I went around the web trying to look for a real world prediction market, and turns out that apart from the Iowa electronic market itself, there is this website called predictit.org, which essentially is uh, kind of keeps updating with coming up with new kind of prediction markets, so that if you are interested in taking part in it, you can essentially trade on these kind of questions. For example, which party will win the AZ 2018 special election? Okay, so that's the Arizona 2018 special election. Let's try to find a non-American specific market so that we can relate to it. So, okay, I think this is kind of fun, even though it is American specific. So, will Trump meet with Kim Jong Un in 2018? So, this is the example of a prediction market. So, this entire question sets up a market right here. So, essentially, what the prediction market is asking the users, or rather the investors, is if you think that the meeting is going to happen in this year, then you can buy the securities for yes. So securities is like share. So if you so essentially if you're going to bet that the event is going to happen, then you are going to buy the yes security. And if you don't think it's going to happen, then you buy the no security.
So if this prediction comes true, predicted will redeem all yes shares at $1, and shares in no will have zero value. If this prediction does not come true, then predicted will redeem all no shares at $1, and the shares in yes will have zero value. So right now, if I were to buy a share of no at 39 cents, um, then if the meeting does not happen by the end of 2018, I'll be getting $1 for every security that I have. So essentially, every security that I got for 40 cents, now I have it for $1, which makes I make 60 cents profit of every single security.
Hopefully by now you have a rough idea of what a prediction market is and how it works. So with that out of the way, we can begin looking at creating our very own prediction market. Are you ready?
Aye, aye, Captain! I can't hear you! Aye, aye, Captain!
For a live prediction market, you will need an event, 1, market maker, 1, optional, admin panel for creating and monitoring markets, 1, user interface for traders to buy and sell securities, 1, traders, more the better but around 10 to 2, scoring rule, 1, security infrastructure, 1, preferably solid. There are a lot of ways to go about creating an environment for a prediction market, but I wanted a framework that was open source, relatively easy to set up, and easy to use. So this is a pretty comprehensive list of prediction market frameworks. All of these are proprietary ones, and over here are the open source options. And as you can see, Zocalo is the very first one listed. This article also lists websites on which you can participate in real markets and a bunch of other stuff. So I'll go ahead and click on Zocalo. So that takes us to the source forge page. Let's check out the files. Go to the latest version. As you can see, this contains two archives, one for the binaries and one for the source files. Since for this video I'll just be running the tool and not delving into the source code, I would want the binary archive, and in fact that is what I have already downloaded and extracted onto my computer. I'm now in the extracted Zocalo directory. I'm running a Docker image of a Linux container on top of my Windows 7 machine. But Zocalo also provides native Windows support. The installation process is pretty straightforward. Zocalo is written in Java, so you'll be needing a Java installation. In fact, there is no installation process as such, but you'll need to configure an email server and type in your email address and password. This email account will be used to send confirmation emails to any new users to your prediction market. The way you do that is by editing etc/zocalo.conf. As you can see, my account is a Gmail account, and so my host is smtp.gmail.com. That is followed by my username, the default port for SMTP with TLS, my password, and whatever name I wanted to say on the email. Apart from the email settings, this file also contains configuration for the initial user funds. So each trader starts off with an initial amount of $1,000, and I can change it here. Once that is done, I save the configuration file and go back to the terminal. Let's now look at the instructions to run Zocalo. So it involves only two steps: starting the database server and starting the Zocalo web app. And let's go ahead and do both of them. So if I have done this right, Zocalo should now be running on my localhost. I had to use Docker's IP address there instead of my localhost. Anyway, well, you're now looking at Zocalo's homepage, and this is where you can sign up and sign in. I have already created a few accounts, but to show you the process, I'll be creating one more right now. Since I'll be needing a valid email for each user, I'm using a temporary email service, which lets me create temporary emails only until I confirm my account. Once that's done, I won't be needing them again, so it's okay. So let's generate a new email address here, add it to the list of emails because we'll be needing that later to log in. Fill in the name and password and submit. Now to confirm the email and done. It's now time to log in and see what's in store for us. Actually, I've already seen it, so it's only a surprise for you. There are two modes you can operate Zocalo in: the market maker or the administrator mode, and the normal user or trader mode. In the market maker mode, you can create markets, declare results of events, etc. The trader mode only allows you to buy or sell securities. So let's go into the market maker account and create a market first. The way to do it is to enter the admin credentials first, followed by any valid username or password combination. This grants that user admin privileges for the rest of the session and allows us to act like the market maker. So the page is empty right now as there are no existing markets. So let's go ahead and create one. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll be using the example of a sports tournament to demonstrate the workings of a prediction market.
So, like I mentioned earlier, this market is going to be that of a sports tournament, and I'll be making it relating to the IPL 2018. So, let's look at all the IPL teams this year. So, okay. So before we start entering the teams, there are two fields that we need to know about. So, one is I know the market maker with how much amount. So, essentially, when a trade happens, you expect to trade with another person who believes the opposite of what you believe. So if you're selling a KKR share, you want to find somebody who wants to buy it. But it's not always the case that you can find a buyer. So it's not always the case that you can actually find a match. So in such cases, just to facilitate trading and not make the market stagnant, the market maker acts uh, as a mediator to sort of buy these temporarily so that the trade happens, but uh, the trade does not happen with another trader, rather, it happens with the market maker. So the market maker takes some risk upon himself to uh, make sure that the market is more liquid. So um, this amount that we enter here, essentially, bigger the amount, larger the risk that the market maker takes. So let's take in dollars. So there are two types of prediction markets. Um, well, there are more, but for the purposes that Zocalo offers, so one is a binary market with just two options, and another is a multiple outcomes, which can have multiple outcomes. So since we are designing our market in such a way that each security is a single team, we'll be having multiple outcomes. Each outcome is a team. So AMI, KPR, exactly. Alright. So each of these teams is an outcome. So if at the end of the season, let's say RCB wins the tournament, then all the other securities will be paid $0, whereas the RCB security will be paid $1. So that's how it works. Okay. Okay, I think I created a trial market in the same name, so let's create India IPL. So here we have our IPL 2018 2 market. As you can see that since I'm an admin, I cannot trade myself, but I can do one thing, which is close the claim. So let's say this is the end of the tournament. So if I close the claim, I get to choose a winner, and the outcome of the winner will be paid $1. In this case, if I choose MI, then MI will be paid $1. But we are not going to do this right away. So let's log in as a normal trader right now. So uh, okay, I okay. So now I logs in and sees that there's a market, and this is where you do the actual trading. So as you can see, each of these teams, excuse me, each of these teams have a current price of 12 cents. So given that there are 9, 1, 2, 8 teams, so 12 times 8 is 90, 96. So uh, which almost comes to $1. So right now it's distributed equally. So the prior probability is that every team has an equal likelihood of winning. So given this scenario, um, if I, as this guy, believes that CSK has a higher chance of winning, but KKR has totally low chance of winning, then I would want this price to go up and this price to probably go down. So why would I wanna? So now, what incentive do I have to uh, give away this information that I have? Let's say that I secretly know that uh, CSK's uh, best performers are suffering from injury this season. So if I were to reveal that information to the market, what is my incentive? So my incentive here is obviously that if CSK ends up winning the tournament, I'm sorry, uh, the injury is in the KKR team, right? So that's why they would lose. So if CSK ends up winning the tournament, then I have a higher uh, uh, I essentially have certain securities which I will be buying right now. So I'll be making money. So at the same time, um, I don't have any KKR shares right now, but if I were to have them and I sell them, I'm avoiding a loss. So typical market strategy, right? So let's go ahead and buy some CSK shares. So let's say, so now there are two different fields here. So I can buy or sell until the price goes to a particular value, or I've spent so much money. So it means that, let's say, I think that CSK has a 50% chance of winning uh, the the tournament. So I would put in 50 cents here. At the same time, I don't want to lose too much money, so I can track on how much money I'm spending. So let's say $100 is how much I want to spend. Um, so even if I don't actually end up getting the price to this particular point, but I reach $200, I will be stopping that. So let's click on trade. Okay, so as you can see here, the graph increases. The price has actually gone up till 50 cents, and I have spent um, 134.56 on this particular trade, and it also gets added there. trading history ledger. All right, so let's do a couple more trades to see, just to get a feel for this. So let's say actually let's just buy one more share. So I also think that RCB has a fair chance of winning, that it's not as bad as point 0.1 cents. So let's say I want to bring it up to 30. So RCB goes up as well, and everybody else goes down. Now I'll be logging into the different one. Let's say, okay. So the price is the way that we left it in the previous trader. Now I have a slightly different information about the game, and that is um, CSK would probably have a terrible chance of winning. Probably because I'm an RCB fan and I secretly hate it, but doesn't matter, right? The opinions could be rational or irrational. I think one of the important points about prediction markets is that there is always going to be a significant amount of rational participants in the market, but over uh, over a long period of time and over a large number of participants, it kind of averages out. So you can think of it as a variant of the law of large numbers, where if you have a lot of people who are irrational, they're going to be irrational in different directions. So it's going to somehow uh, cancel out each other to sort of come up with a sensible average. So this is again part of the efficient, somewhat a variant of the efficient market hypothesis. So just like how we did a trade with the previous user, I'm going to be buying some share securities here. So let's say that I want CSK down to about 14, right? So till 14, or I've spent $100, and the RCB share to go up till around, let's say, 60. So I'll be executing these two trades here. And as you can see, rather than buying it from a different user directly, I have bought this from the market maker. So what happened in the initial trade was that uh, when some CSK shares were bought, uh, the, the the trades happened to the market maker. So now I'm just buying it back from the market maker. So that's what's happening. All right. So oops, I executed a trade again. Anyway, so as you can see here, the price of RCB, which had gone down, now has come up again, and the price of CSK has gone down as well. So, long story short, these kind of trades can happen throughout the tournament as new information is constantly being updated and realized. And more or less, I'm gonna stop my demo of trading here because this can go on forever. But more or less, over a given period of time with enough number of users, in fact, there are certain conditions for making sure that the opinion that is comes out of the prediction market is uh, accurate. So they have around um, I think a few conditions which guarantee the um, accuracy of a prediction market. Right. I'm just going to tell it to you. So, it's the diversity of opinions, it's a sufficient number of people, and access to varied information. So, if these three conditions are satisfied, then you can be sort of guaranteed that the prediction market will do at least as good as other kind of aggregation methods. So, that brings us to the end of this introductory video to prediction markets. I didn't go into the details of scoring rules and the mathematics behind how payouts are calculated, etc., for the lack of time. But I hope after watching this video, you'll be able to associate better with the concept of using markets to incentivize people to share their information and actually predict real world events. So hopefully you found that interesting. And there's a beautiful paper by Hansen on logarithmic scoring rules. So if you're interested, please do check that out and maybe even participate in one of those online prediction markets. I have actually been meaning to, but hopefully you do try it out. So that's it. Thanks for watching.